Pretty much, I just wanted to comment on what's going on because I think things are not going to unfold how people are expecting. Let me explain. So let's get one thing out of the way first. So I just wanted to clarify something before we get going. This is going to be a bit of a different format than y'all are used to on this channel. This is not going to be like the well thought out videos or the research and the B-rolls and all of that. This is just going to be me pretty much ranting, and I'm going to do this with whatever subjects I feel like I want to cover and I feel like they're going to be fun to cover. So think of this as more of a very loose, very much off the top. There's going to be very minimal editing, so I apologize for whatever other noises I do other than talking. But here are my thoughts on Crawford versus Errol Spence. I am first and foremost, I am a Errol Spence Jr. fan way before I am a Terrance Crawford fan, just from the perspective of who I like more as a person. As of late, I've been spending a lot of time researching Errol Spence Jr., so maybe that's where my bias comes from for my next episode. But you know, just wanted to put that out there because yes, I do like the way Terrance Crawford fights, but some of the stuff that he says and the way people describe him doesn't really make me feel very confident in his negotiation. So let me explain that. In this video, Terrance Crawford says that he's been speaking to Al Heyman back and forth, trying to go over the numbers and figure out how much he's going to get. Now, he says that he has been contacted by two hedge funds where they promise him $25 million each guaranteed. Takes this to Errol Spence Jr. and takes this to Al Heyman after Errol Spence Jr. I guess answers a call and then doesn't give him a reply to his offer of $25 million guaranteed. Now, I haven't looked up the purses for Errol Spence yet, but $25 million for the biggest fight in your career, guaranteed, and he says that it's guaranteed, making it seem like, oh, you got to secure this bag if you're really about the money, if you're really about the truth. But $25 million guaranteed, jeez Louise, that sounds like a lot of money for one of the biggest fights in boxing. It has to be a shame when taking into account that Canelo Alvarez and Caleb Plant could like split $100 million easily, and this guy wants to leave like $50 million on the table. But that's gonna make up my point here. What I'm trying to say is that I don't like that Terrance Crawford is the one in the negotiation table versus Al Heyman. I think that getting out of the top rank contract is one of the best things that Terrance Crawford could have done for himself, but his big mistake was to go head on against Al Heyman to negotiate the biggest fight in his career. Now let me explain. Errol Spence Jr. hired PBC to represent him. Errol Spence Jr. has no reason to be concerned with like what's going on with negotiations. How much am I getting paid? How is this being split up? You trust that PBC and Al Heyman will do that for you. Now, here's the thing. Terrance Crawford is baiting Spence Jr. by saying you're not your own boss. You have people you answer to. Now, that's kind of like also incorrect. Now, I say that because Errol Spence Jr. really answers to nobody. He is his own man. He is his own fighter. But he does have a working contract with PBC Promotions, which Al Heyman represents him, right? Now, the service that PBC provides is to represent Errol Spence Jr., not necessarily to guide, or maybe it is to guide his career. But my suspicions for the services that PBC offers to Errol Spence Jr. is to represent him and find him fights and also advise him on the best fights to take. Now, this is also very important because Al Heyman is one of the most experienced negotiators that no one knows. This guy is behind all of your favorite fighters, and the biggest draws in boxing. And he's not even like known publicly, like let's say Bob Arum or Dom King, right? So Don King, my bad. I call him Dom King. Don King, bruh. So here, this is what I'm trying to say about this. So this is the guy Terrance Crawford decides to negotiate against in his first fight, and he thinks that bringing to him $50 million guaranteed by someone who has nothing to do with boxing. So this man has been working on Errol Spence's career to cash in on this moment, because I'm pretty sure he's salivating at the lips at this opportunity. Everyone is. All of boxing should. The whole entire city of Las Vegas should be pushing to pay for this damn fight. It's that big. Now, with all of this being said, Terrance Crawford shows up to negotiate one-on-one against a shark, a real shark of negotiations, and says that $50 million guaranteed is enough to persuade these people to come to the table. Look, if I'm Errol Spence Jr., I laugh at this. $25 million guaranteed is pennies compared to how much these guys can make, even if they split this 30-70 in the rear end with pay-per-view and whatever else. They could work this out through merch. They could do all types of things. But I don't think Terrance Crawford is well aware of that, because this is also his first fight. Yes, he's been involved, but in this interview, he reveals that Bob Arum has been paying him a fixed amount for every fight prior to this. I'm sure that the fixed amount has probably gone up through the time, but this is also very similar to the model that the UFC uses in their pay scale, where all fighters earn a fixed amount for every fight. Now, that's not the best way to handle your business when you're a top draw like Terrance Crawford, but the thing is that Terrance Crawford is a draw only by skill, not by personality. Why does that matter? Because we live in 2022 where personality, like let's say Raleigh, how is Raleigh involved in a bigger fight right now than Terrance Crawford? I don't know. But being in a fight like that will add exposure to your career, which will give you leverage and further negotiations. Leverage that Terrance Crawford kind of does have, and he did use. What he said is that he's taking the next fight because he needs to stay active, because he's the best boxer ever, and he doesn't wait for anybody. Now, cool. I'm all with it. I like that. And that could be seen as a negotiation tactic. And that is, I'm not going to wait around. I'm going to get going. You need me. I don't need you. Now, yes and no. They kind of need each other, right? At the moment, the one with more relevancy and the bigger, let's say, star attraction, just because of who he has been fighting, which is other stars that are relevant at a bigger scale, is Errol Spence Jr. Fought Mikey Garcia, fought Danny Garcia. He fought all the Garcias under the sun, and then fought Kell Brook, and then fought Sean Porter. You see what I'm saying? And Terrance Crawford, I guarantee you can't name me his past 5 fights other than what is his name? Jesus, I just said his name. And he has a podcast. Sean Porter. I'm sorry. Sean Porter. This is a one take, people. One take. I'm not really going to edit this much. It's a different format. I'll add that at the front again. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to record that again. But he fought Sean Porter, and I really can't recall who else. But that's due to his inactivity, and that's also due to him just not, really just fighting the biggest names out there. It's probably due to the way Bob Arum managed his career, but I'm getting off the topic here. What I'm trying to say is that his leverage point is that he's going to move on and he doesn't need Errol Spence, but this only works if he takes a tougher fight or a fight that's going to bring him equal or more money or something similar to it. Thing is, he's not doing that. He's moving on to fight some other dude that nobody knows. So your leverage goes away. And I don't think he knows that. So I don't know who's giving Terrance Crawford advice, but my advice to Terrance Crawford as some random YouTuber would be to not be afraid to reach out to other people that you might not even be familiar with. Like, let's say like Matchroom Boxing, or even like Eddie Hearns, Richard Schaefer, all these other individuals that could probably guide you a little better than he says. He's got a lawyer helping him out. He doesn't mention them by name, so it's a little hard to gauge how good that advice could be. But I would work with somebody else, give them a little piece, just a little bit of the crumbs. Let's say you're gonna make over 25 million, so let's just work with the 25 million that you're already being offered, right? Give this guy a couple milli from there, right? Imagine all the other more you're gonna get, and then he could help you negotiate this fight and the second one. Because a guy like Richard Schaefer, a guy like Eddie Hearn, a guy like Golden Boy, yes, there's going to be a fee. Yes, you're going to have to adhere to some things. But guess what, Terrance Crawford? You get the first fight and the second fight. And on the second fight, if you win, like you say you are, you get to dictate how much less he makes. So, really, if I'm Errol Spence Jr. at this point, this guy doesn't want to fight. This guy doesn't want to negotiate, right? Which I don't think the problem is that they don't want to fight each other. So that's where I think that anyone who says that is wrong. These guys make a living by fighting. So it doesn't make sense that he's going to be worried about what's going to happen. So with that being said, if I'm Errol Spence Jr. and this fight doesn't seem like it's going to happen, I'm sorry. I think he should move up in weight and go to 160 pounds. And at 160 pounds, he could fight a stable of like other more relevant fighters who have, star power, who have, I think there's like the Charlo brothers. He could always face like Caleb Plant. They're always going back and forth. I think moving up in weight and seeking a Canelo fight in the future in like 2 years, I could see Errol Spence at 165, 168. Or even Canelo coming back down at a catch weight to fight Errol Spence. If Errol Spence, goes up in weight and does some things and takes the belts, I'm telling you, you're not using your brain. You're not using your brain. If you're Errol Spence, the guy with the bigger frame, with the tougher frame, right? We've seen him go to war, and we could see he could put on size and still be okay. He's got nothing to worry about. But Terrance Crawford on the other side, he has less star power. He fights less frequently. He's promoted by himself now. So, you either reach out to somebody who does this better than you to help you along the way, or you're really, 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 really banking that your novice experience is what's going to get you through this. But I don't think that's going to happen. I don't see it. But hopefully it works out for him. Sean Porter on the Porter Way podcast mentioned that, Terrance Crawford was the most hard-headed person he knows, one of the most hard-headed persons he knows. So that doesn't make me very confident that Terrance is going to change his way. So I personally am going to move along from this fight until things look a lot more solid, because at the moment they do not. Terrance has now announced a new fight. Spence Jr. says he's not going to fight this year. I think we should all move along. I think we should be looking forward to Spence going to another division, and possibly they could meet at 160. Crawford could make 160. I mean, come on. It's right there. He probably walks around at 160 every now and then. Put a little muscle on, Crawford. You're going to look good, man. You need to fill out a little bit. But those are my thoughts. This is my new format for like things I think I would like to give my opinion on. But this is just my opinion. This is all it is. And don't take much of it other than just like, kicking it. So let me know, what are your thoughts? Comment down below. Catch y'all next time. Peace.